from idolatry, from idolatrous sources. To that, I cannot argue. They are. Now, so what is Sabbath? We have an idea of what seventh is. To some, the Bible is making a reference to the seventh day of the week that we now know as Saturday. But in reality, seventh is just speaking about the day that falls in a linear cycle of days that follows after the sixth day, whatever that may be, and no matter where it falls on a calendar. A week is 1/4 of a month, and the seventh day is 1/7 of the week. Whatever and whenever that week starts, whenever the 6 days of work begins. So Sabbath has to be different than that. So what is it? Sabbath is a day of rest. Sabbath means 1 day in 7, not the 7th day. Sabbath means a rest, which is 1 day out of 7. So whenever the work cycle begins, it goes for 6 days, and there should be a 7th day that distinguishes itself and sets itself apart by the people of God in order to give reverence, worship, and honor due to God, and that He expects. He does not care which day it is, as long as the people of God set aside a day where they separate that day, distinguishing it from the other 6, which is to be comprised of men at work. The Sabbath is 1 day in 7. The 7th day is different than 1 day in 7. Any day of a week could be a Sabbath day if the body of Christ, if the body of Christ agreed that this was the day that we're going to work. I mean, if these are the days we're going to work, and this 7th day is the day we're going to rest. The Christian church has made the day that Christ resurrected representing a new day and a new era in the economy of God's people and His dealing with them. And they chose to set apart Sunday, the day the Lord resurrected, to be that day. And there is nothing wrong with that, because Christ said that the Sabbath was made for man. And I personally see that being just as legitimate if true Christian people of any Christian denomination decided that their denomination was going to work on some other 6 days a week, or starting with Sunday, and would rest on Saturday. I personally don't see a reason with that, and I don't see any way that I could argue against that. I really don't. Again, as I said, my issue is when they say that we who worship on Saturday are sinning against God. And I frankly don't understand how you could be sinning if you are worshiping God. If I am doing on Sunday what you do on Saturday, how am I sinning against God? But so many of you are wrapped up in your legalistic ways that you fail to understand and miss the whole point of what Christ was teaching, which is that God is a spirit, and those who worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth. And worshiping God in spirit and in truth can take place on any day of the week. The majority of Protestant Christianity observes and hallows Sunday, as we refer to it as the Lord's Day, and we have perfect liberty to honor God that day. And I would also submit that those of you who belong to other denominations, if you are Bible-believing Christians, if your denomination wants to observe